Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Mother-in-Law Stories. For today's video, I picked 3 stories on mother-in-laws that seem to play nice, but end up being that crazy mother-in-law we love to hear about but really would never like to meet. So let's cut this introduction short and get started with that first story. My dear husband is British. I am from the States, but have lived in England for almost 10 years. So moving here was a little like getting thrown into the deep end of a swimming pool. Everything was new. I knew no one. I had to adapt fast or be miserable. I had no family or friends around me for support. My mother-in-law, the cunning old witch that she is, could sense this, I suppose, and under the pretense of taking me under her wing, did her best to manipulate me. She used to pour her heart out to me, as she doesn't get along with her stepson and her husband's ex-wife, and is extremely jealous of them. She told me countless tales of how horrible that side of the family was, causing me to dislike them too. I was young and impressionable. I know better now. She did the usual mother-in-law things, subtly hinting that my house wasn't up to scratch, her son was losing weight rapidly because I didn't cook. Dear husband is 20 pounds heavier than he was when we married. I didn't entertain and give dinner parties. I work full time, and back then I didn't know too many people. I didn't use the proper disinfectant in the toilet bowl. No joke. Every time I tried to answer her insults, she would start talking loudly about something else and completely change the subject. She phoned me constantly. On the whole, she was friendly, but not without 1 or 2 nasty passive-aggressive comments or orders about how I shouldn't be doing things, how I should think, etc. God forbid I have any opinions or feelings that differ from hers. If I did, she thought I was being stupid or typically American in her words. What is typically American? I suppose I should have nipped this behavior in the bud then, because she is a true bully, and bullies back down when confronted. But I was much too polite, and I thought pursuing the subject would be undignified. I put up with this for about 9 years. Recently, I discovered from a very reliable and old friend that she has been running me down to other people for years, saying that I have been nothing but trouble to her and dear husband's stepfather ever since I moved to England, that I am ungrateful to her, I'm a lazy bee, the list goes on. I cannot tell you how hurt I was at this. Yes, she did help us get on our feet when we were first married, but we never asked her to. I just thought she was doing it out of love, and I always thanked her to show her my gratitude. I always lent a hand when she needed my help, looking after her animals when she went away, usually with about an hour's notice, cooking and changing beds for her bed and breakfast guests when she couldn't be there, and so on. So, why did she stab me in the back like this? I was so upset that I cried for days. I mean, I knew she could be a little uppity, but I had learned to accept her eccentricities, but didn't think she actually hated me. What had I done? Well, recently I confronted her, and she did what I thought she would do. She became hysterical and started crying, saying that I was paranoid and oversensitive, then I was a liar. Anyway, she doesn't phone me so often now, and when she does talk to me, she is very, very careful about what she says. She doesn't use that chummy, sickly, fake voice anymore. I am pleasant to her when she is nice to me, but when she slips up and starts to nag, or tries to demoralize me, I pull her up fast. Her new trick now is to invent illnesses so that we feel sorry for her. About a month ago, she was moaning about how she was suffering breathing difficulties. So later, I politely asked her what did the doctor say about it. She didn't have a clue what I was talking about. Sheesh, pathetic or what? The sad thing is, when she's not being nasty, she can be great fun. She is very young looking and sprightly, and I used to enjoy her company sometimes. Now I know how two-faced she is. I do not trust her with my thoughts and feelings, so I do everything I can to avoid her. Because of her pointless viciousness, she has really ruined any relationship she will ever have with me, or, more importantly, her son and any future grandchildren. Dear husband has been 100% wonderful about the whole thing and sees his mother very clearly for what she is and will not take any crap from her. I suppose I ought to feel sorry for her. I think she is a very bitter and unhappy woman for reasons I cannot begin to fathom. I mean, she has a lot to be happy about, so why? But surely, if she is unhappy and hates her stepfamily, wouldn't she want the love and support of her son and daughter-in-law around her? She did have this once, but she never will again. I just can't forgive and forget anymore. Well, that is a sure way to ruin a relationship with a family member. Play the two-face game. Be all nice and sweet to their face and then talk crap about them behind their back. That's just a lose-lose game, because when you're gossiping, you don't really look that well, right? And also, when you get caught, you lose the friendship of the person that you were bad-mouthing. So, there's no upside. Why do it? Anyways, OP knows better now. So, on that note, let's move on to the main story. I am finally mother-in-law free. When I was young, I was a bad girl. I admit it. I met, slept with, and moved my husband in with me within a week. Love came very fast for us, and I considered him my soulmate. We were married after a year, and I got pregnant on our wedding night. We had a civil ceremony with only 3 friends present. No family was invited, as we were afraid they would take over, plus the fact that we were very poor. Late in my pregnancy, my mother-in-law invited us to move in with her. We realized that we would not be able to afford our apartment with only dear husband's income. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law and their new baby had already moved in with them. We were going to use the den, with my mother-in-law saying we would have plenty of privacy. I was young, stupid, and optimistic. So dear husband and I agreed to move in there to save money. That was the biggest mistake of our lives. We had no privacy whatsoever. Breastfeeding was out of the question, as I would never know when my father-in-law would be standing over the bed wanting to kiss my son. Please, while my baby is breastfeeding? Ew! Family members continually walk through the den at all hours, waking me, dear husband, and our baby son. My son was 5 months old when I went back to work to make money to get us the heck out of there. We moved into our own place when dear son was 9 months old. However, moving out made things even worse. We were always expected to spend every holiday with them. Her excuse was that I have health problems and won't be around forever. The biddy will probably live to be 100. Not just Christmas and Thanksgiving, but Easter, Halloween, New Year's Eve, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, etc. You get the picture. If we weren't there at their house, they would call and leave nasty voicemails till we got worn down and went out there. I rarely saw my own family. All I wanted was to spend time with my hubby and kids on holidays without anyone else. Fast forward a few years, mother-in-law and father-in-law had inserted themselves into every aspect of our lives. They never called, they just showed up. They often invited my children out to eat with them, even if I had dinner already cooking. Of course, my kids would jump at the chance to get out to eat rather than staying home. They took the kids for haircuts when we specifically asked them not to. They took the kids to movies when we specifically said, don't take them, we want to go this weekend as a family. They have taken both our kids to the emergency room for colds that I already called the doctor's office about and gotten advice on how to care for. And every Christmas, we begged them not to go overboard on gifts, as we scrimped and saved all year to buy the kids nice presents. And every year, they would do their best to upstage our presents to our children and make us feel like crap at the same time. Dear husband was always arguing with his parents on the phone. I thought about how they were always trying to be parents to our kids. One day, I asked him to put her on speaker. Her first words were, "That crack floozy you married." I was livid. I had to jump in, and this woman told me that since my hubby met me and effed me on the first date, I was cheap and sleazy. She accused me of taking some of my son's pants that she bought back to the store for money and that I probably used it for drugs. Okay, here's the deal about the pants. She did buy my son some pants. My son is short and skinny, like me, and they didn't fit. So I put them away till the following school year. They are still upstairs now. And I do not now and never have used drugs. Okay, I smoked pot in high school once. I had been promiscuous in my younger years, but dear husband knows everything and we have now been together 11 years. I think that's long enough to let the past stay in the past. She accused me of many other things. When I got off the phone, I was shaking and crying. My dear husband tried to comfort me, saying that he had tried to keep me out of it. He had hidden their comments about me, trying to spare me. I just wish I had known earlier so I could have cut them off years ago. Now, I don't speak to my in-laws. Total blackout, no contact with that toxic family. My father-in-law has asked dear husband when I'm going to get over it. Ha! That old perv shouldn't hold his breath. We had our first Christmas to ourselves after that. It was wonderful. And on Mother's Day, dear husband accompanied me to my mother's house. My mother spoke wonderfully to him, and after he had to leave for work, she still went on about what a good man he is. I wish people would talk about me like that when I'm not there. And mother-in-law was upset because I didn't spend Mother's Day with her like we had every other year. To my mother-in-law's credit, I must say that she has always been generous to us, and she has had some health problems lately involving several small strokes, heart problems, and diabetes. These medical problems may be messing with her mind for her to say such horrible things, as she has even cussed out my dear husband, her youngest son. In any case, I am now free of them. I still let the kids go see them, but only one evening a week. Dear husband takes them to her house while he mows their yard, but that may come to an end soon as dear husband is getting fed up with them. My mother-in-law had always said she always wanted a big, happy family. Well, I guess she got what she wanted, but now how she wanted it, because the family is big, and finally, I am happy. Boom! Way to go, OP! Finally no contact with a toxic family. That father-in-law, like you say, ew, looking over your shoulder while breastfeeding? Ugh, come on, dude, not cool at all. And don't make excuses for your mother-in-law's behavior because of her illnesses. Unless it's complete dementia, there's no excuse for being nasty. You might be in pain, you might be hurting, but that's not a reason to be horrible to your daughter-in-law. The good thing is you have a husband that totally supports you. Even if he tried to shield you in the wrong way, he should have been more upfront with you from the beginning, but I guess he learned. Alright, now on that note, let's move on to the final story. I thought after the wedding day, my mother-in-law would finally be nice to me. I was super wrong. It all began 3 years ago when I first started becoming serious with my now husband. During this time, my now mother-in-law talked really nice to me and loved to see me with her son. Well, after the engagement ring was placed on my finger, all hell broke loose. At first, I was not affected by her attitude because one of her sons was about to get married the following month and I thought it might be her anxiety of losing all her sons. My mother-in-law has 4 boys and does not want to see them go, since they all support her. When my husband and I went to tell his parents of the wonderful news, she states to me, "Oh, you think you will be a part of my son's life?" Well, after that comment, all went downhill. My mother-in-law, for the next year, would try to turn each son and other family members against my husband and me. She would call me while at home and work, screaming at me that I was disrupting her family's life. I wish I could be that powerful. She would make up disgusting stories about me and call me horrible names. To top it off, she even had one of her sons following me around town and to school. Before I came to the realization that my husband's family and his mother are crazy, I became seriously depressed from all of this. My husband and I would fight like crazy. One minute he listens to his mother, then the next he would apologize to me and ignore her. Even during this tough time, I would still go out of my way to please her. I would ask her, "Did I ever offend you? What made you think of these stories about me? How can I change the way you feel about me?" I must have repeated these questions to her a zillion times. She would never answer me. Every day I would pick my brain to see what I did so wrong to make her hate me. Anyway, the wedding date was set. Of course, she went through many tactics to try to end the relationship before the wedding. During my bridal shower, she started ripping in about my husband. She would say things like, "I hate my son. He is so stupid. He would not be faithful." I was so embarrassed because all my guests were confused as per her sayings. Well, everyone got the point that she was weird. So, it was 1 month before the wedding, and I was wondering why the invitations that my husband posted to his side of the family weren't responding. Well, she had phoned her side of the family and stated that the wedding was cancelled. My husband and I had to guarantee 75 people, but only had 50 responses. When I found out what happened, I think that was the worst day of my life. At that point, I could not deal with the confusion. I ended my relationship with my husband because he could not stand up to his mother. Funny thing was, as soon as she knew the wedding was cancelled, she tried to console me and try to be friends with me. My husband kept begging for my return, but I refused until I knew he would stand up for me and, more important, himself. We went to counseling and worked out our problems. Our relationship became very strong once again. We decided to tie the knot. Once again, we set our new date. Boy, did she get upset. She threatened, screamed, cried, but finally, my husband put his foot down and stood up for us. Well, since she realized she could not stop the wedding, she decided not to attend the wedding. His father and brothers did not attend either because of fear of their mother. The sad part is that my husband's brothers are in their late 20s and early 30s and still let the mother control their lives. Surprisingly, my husband was fine with them not attending, and we had a wonderful wedding and a great time. However, the mother still won't give up. She continues to try to make my life miserable. I guess she's now trying to work on a divorce for the both of us. When I used to hear others complain about their in-laws, I thought they were blowing everything up. Now I know better, but I don't care anymore. My husband and I are in the process of focusing on our lives and decided that we'll only have a relationship with this family if we both feel that we can trust them to be our family. Wow, I gotta say, I loved OP's determination when she said she just decided to cancel the whole relationship until her now husband grew a spine and stood up for them. That's fantastic, and the good thing is that the husband did. So congratulations to the both of you. It's a good thing you cut toxic people out of your life. Hope everything works out for the best. And so we've reached the end of the video. I hope once again that you guys liked it. If you did, go ahead and click like. If you still haven't subscribed to this community, don't be shy and go ahead and click subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell so you know when I put up a new video. And also, don't forget to visit the Lost Genre subreddit. There you can cross-post stories that you'd like for me to feature in videos or share your own story for me to do so. Alright, and having said all that, I'll see you guys on the next video.